Okay, hello everyone. We will start today's meeting with protocol being offered by Aina Aloha Ione. You already bought. Okay, we thank you for that introduction. Okay, call to order. The limited meeting of the Hawaiian Homes Commission is called to order. The meeting is being convened at Lehia Beach Park, 2499 Kalaniana'ole Street, Hilo, Hawaii, 96720. Holly Watson, Chairman of the Hawaiian Homes Commission, and today's date is Sunday, May 19, 2024. The time is 9:50 a.m. Roll call, Leah?
Commissioner Roy is excused. Commissioner Freitas? Sure. Commissioner Helm is excused. Commissioner Kalekini? Aye. Commissioner Kaneakua? Aye. Commissioner Marfio is excused. Commissioner Nevis?
Aye.
Commissioner Namo is excused. Chair Watson?
Here.
5 members present. We have a quorum.
Okay, introductions, Andrew Choi, head of our planning division, and Julie Cachola, also with the planning department, assisted by Khan Albino of the land management division.
Okay. Aloha everyone, thank you for joining us today. We're here really because Honoka'a or Maha requested that the commission come visit this particular aina this morning. For you folks, for the commissioners, this will be on agenda item G9 of the regular meeting on Tuesday. The planning office will be presenting a draft environmental assessment for the settlement plan of King's Landing. The origin of this process and this project dates back several decades, which I think Maha will go over. But for the more contemporary history, the commission established a permitted interaction group to look at issues related to King's Landing. One of the recommendations coming out of that group was to direct the department to assess the feasibility of homesteading in King's Landing. So item G9, we'll go through that with you folks on Tuesday. It's a really, really fat report, and I'm sure all the commissioners read through it very thoroughly. But in light of that, I think what's probably better than reading a report is actually experiencing the land, and experiencing the land through the perspective of those that have been there for a very long time stewarding the land. So today is really time for the commissioners to ask questions about those, from those, or ask questions to those of been here for a very long time, at least several decades, and at least several of the people you interact here actually grew up here all their life. So it's through that perspective that we hope to share that with the commission today. So with that, I will hand it over to Aina Aloha Ione.
I think you wanted to be the ones to pass it out, so go pass it out. So I made some handouts.
To the commission.
I made 16, so they'll tell you.
Raise your hand if you're a commissioner.
Please raise your hand. That one. Maho, kanina. Imo, huli.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else want? I'll take one. They could begin today with sharing one thing they love about Honoka'a, which is their papa's bed. Okay? Take over here. What do you love about Honoka'a?
I love about Honoka'a that it feels like home, and that my mom grew up there, and I always wanted to be like her. I can't live like that because
Thank you. Okay. What do you love about Honoka'a?
I like to go fishing one time. I caught a fish in the pot, and then we like it, and caught a fish out.
And what do you love about Papa's bed? Thank you very much for us meeting today. My name is Aina Aloha Iwane. I am the daughter of Skip. Oh, sorry, I can. I'm the daughter of Skippy Iwane, which we will meet today. So I put together a packet that I might refer to now and then while I'm talking story. So the cover page here is how to access our website. So this is the Malamaka'aina Hanaka'aina website, and there's also a QR code on the bottom if you wanna, snap it with your phone. I ask that whenever you somehow find the time or break during this long weekend, if you can go onto the website and listen to some of our families' interviews. And so a few years ago, I collected family interviews and asked them to share how they came into the Aina and what they love and what they're passionate about in Kings Landing. And so you'll find those interviews on our website. This image here, every time I look at it, this is the cover page of our image. This is me. And these are the kids I grew up with in the Aina. And I am right there. I'm probably the same age as my daughter in this image. And we are at a community fundraising event. We, as a community, would fundraise. We do Kalua Pig Bowls at the Mud Derby behind the waste treatment. They have the Mud Derbies over there. And so we would do, community fundraising events for our community dues. And those dues were used to maintain the road or maintain the gate. And it's an inspiration because when it gets hard, because working within the systems today can be hard, I revert back to this image because it reminds me of why I'm doing it. Because in this picture, while I'm this age, everything was simple to me. Living in the Aina was simple. The parents, my dad, my uncles, and my aunties, they were doing all the hard work with all of you. And I got to live in this innocent bliss, and I didn't realize until I became an adult and had my own kids the importance of being the adult in this picture.
Just for context, what year?
Oh, this is probably 1991, 1992. Yes, that's my age. Thank you. Okay, if you go to the second page. So on the website, Maha really encompasses or focuses on these 4 key points. And so the rehabilitation of the Native Hawaiian, the rehabilitation in the form of self-determination. And so when we were younger, when the Hawaiian beneficiary found it hard to make their way outside or in the mainstream, my father will call it in mainstream America, they found a sense of belonging here in the Aina. And so what they did was the beneficiary came and decided for themselves what their rehabilitation was going to look like and what it was going to feel like for them. Rehabilitation, Maha focuses on rehabilitation in the form of ohana sovereignty. Living in the Aina, my father, in an interview, if you have the time to go and listen to it, he talks about how living in the Aina gave him the opportunity to just be with his family, his wife, his kids, and in the Aina. And he got to raise them. He says we grew up tough because as we drive through, you'll see, you have to have thick skin to live in Aina. The environment and the people sometimes, you have to have thick skin. And so, but that's what my father chose. He wanted to remove us from all the happenings that were happening outside so that we could grow up in a different environment and we could grow up with Aina. Maha focuses on the rehabilitation in the form of community self-governance. So Maha is the democratically elected self-governing entity of the Hawaiian beneficiaries that reside and steward the lands of Kings Landing. And rehabilitation in the form of subsistence in Aina. So growing up, I always like to share this memory that at about high school, I ate so much fish and so much poi and so much limukohu and opihi and a'ama that when I went to luau's and graduation parties, I would go for the kalua pig or I would go for the beef stew because that's something we didn't have when we were growing up because we ate fish all the time. And we had the poi bowl in the middle of the table and then we had the limukohu bowl on the side of it. And that's what my father chose for us. And for me, it seemed normal until you then went and slept over other people's houses and they don't have the poi bowl in the middle of the dining table and they don't have the limukohu that you add to make your flavor to your meal. And because my father chose to raise us in the Aina, we had that opportunity. And that's the experiences that my daughter speaks about. when I share with her all my memories about growing up in King's Landing, she wants that, and she's attracted to that, and she wants to live that. And my son loves to go holo holo, and he wants to live that. And so that is who we are as a community. Okay, I'm flipping to the pink. So I want to spend maybe 10 more minutes here before we go for a drive-in so that we all kind of have a context while we're driving. And so I'm going to skim through this, and then when you have the time and you want to read it, you can read through it. I pulled out from our Maha website, I have a timeline. As much as I could try and recall from my father's memory, my mother's memory, and any kupuna's memory, any kupuna that was willing to share their memory, I put it on the website. And so I pulled out some important dates. And so in 1921, that's when King's Landing, or the Honoka'a area, became a part of the Hawaiian Homeland's inventory. At that time, there were families already living here in King's Landing. And those were the Ka'a'ave family and the Ka'a'ave family, and the Malo family. And so the Malo family had a house there at Waiuli, they had a house at Koki, and then they had a house at Waiokawa. I'm on the third paragraph. So the Ka'a'ave family, they were born at Pu'ukapu, which is at the end of our boundary line that we'll go to today. And the Ka'a'ave family had been here for multiple generations, and so they are our kupa. The Ka'a'ave family is the last known residents who have lived here for multi-generations and that were born here. There were two sisters at the time, when this aina came a part of the Hawaiian Homeland's inventory. There were two sisters still living here. Auntie Mary Kua, she married a Kua, and Auntie Lily Puana, who then married a Puana. Auntie Mary Kua had a house at Waiokawa and a house at Pu'ukapu. And so when the department then retained this, the rules of the department then became applied to the aina. And so what had happened to Auntie Mary Kua's home was that the department didn't allow for multiple structures for one ohana. And so the department removed and burned down one of the Ka'a'ave family's homes at Waiokawa. And then in the 1950s, that happened in the 1950s, in the 1960s, my father used to come down here. He said he was about my son's age, and he would come down to the shores of, this is Keonepupu. And so a lot of the Keoka'a homestead residents, they come and they access this area for subsistence, and then they'd walk into King's Landing. They didn't use this road, they'd walk along the coastline. And my father, at my son's age, finally was allowed to go with his grandfather, my grandpa Iwane, and all of the other men from Keoka'a to go fishing. And he said based on that experience, he knew that he would eventually come back to King's Landing. And then when he finished the Vietnam War, he came back. He was told by my grandpa Iwane they were going through the subdividing process for the lot on Todd Avenue in Keoka'a. But he learned that he would have to build a house within 1 year to have that land. And my father, being a Vietnam vet, didn't have the financial means in order to qualify for a loan. So he knew he wasn't going to be able to malama his family land on the Keoka'a homestead. That's when he decided to come into King's Landing, because he, being a Vietnam vet, needed the opportunity to reclaim his sovereignty within himself, and he found that in King's Landing. So he asked my grandpa Iwane for his permission, and grandpa Iwane and my dad came into King's Landing. In 1960s, before my father came, about 10 years before my father came, Kupa, Auntie Lili Puana, invited Uncle Bill Pakani to live at Waiokawa. And so Uncle Bill Pakani then went and established his home at Waiokawa. Then he had an oral permission from the department to steward the land until the department, better understood how to use the aina. And then in my father came in 81, and then in 82, he received an eviction notice from the department. And at that time, only had Uncle Bill and my father, my mother and my older sister. And so they decided that they had to formalize themselves into an entity. So in 1982, they formalized Maha. And Maha became the entity representing the beneficiaries in King's Landing. And then they worked with the department, and in the video on the Maha website, my father will say that the department was pro-Hawaiian then. And the reason we're here today is because the group of people in 1982 within the department really supported them. And without their support, we would not be here today. And so they issued the first right of entry in 1986. And so we have been here since 1982 as a formalized association. And we've gone through our third right of entry within that time frame. Over the years, between 1982 to present, more beneficiary ohanas became a part of our community. And together, they developed. My father will say in the video that when we were younger, the community was very strong. Everybody came together. I remember, slaughtering the pig at our house and sitting on the top of the ulu tree and watching my uncles do it below me. And then we put the pig in the imu. And then we would, back then we didn't have very strong Department of Health rules, so then we took that pig from the imu and we sold it at the mud derby. And so that's how we did things as a community. Okay. And then in 2020, 2021, between the time of the establishment of Maha and 2021, the department, after Dad and Uncle Bill got their eviction notice, the department told Maha that leases could not be given to the beneficiaries of Kingsland to go back to where I grew up if we don't have leases and successorship. So you have to be on the Hawaiian Homes wait list. You have to agree to work with Maha and follow Maha's bylaws and follow Maha's code of conduct and contribute towards land settlement. Then you come to the community and you request to be a Maha member, and the community votes you in. And the community has had a 100% acceptance track so far in all of our membership requests. And we confirm membership with the East Hawaii office. Mina will present us with a letter certifying that this person is on the Hawaiian Homes wait list. And so we take that letter and we save it in our community documents. And then we have associate members. So associate members are family members of the member who want to participate in Maha. And so I'm an associate member. My father is the member. He is the Hawaiian Homes beneficiary, and I am the associate member. That's everything. Okay. Any questions?
What's the number of members?
Okay. We
It's in
have.
here, I'm sorry.
No, I have it here. I printed it out for you. So, on the green tab here, we have our members here, and we have their associate members on the left. So let me count. 22 members. So 22 beneficiaries. Okay, are we ready to go? Okay, so when we drive in, we're gonna make a kind of a hard right. When you look in the front of you, that's the vision for our community space. And that's also the area for the smaller 1 to 3 acre parcels. Okay. Our first stop is going to be at an area that the community, let me refer to the map, thank you. Nope, not the second map, maybe. It doesn't show it. Third map. Oh, okay. Sorry. Any map. Okay. So we are going to stop at Waiakeakua. And so what's happening at Waiakeakua is that we have someone there that is not abiding by the Maha rules of stewardship. And I think when you see it, it will be visually self-explanatory of why that has become an issue for the community. This area, the community, in our settlement plan discussion and envisioning with the department, with the planning department, the community is envisioning, it's our largest alkaline pond that we have. And in our forward thinking, we would like to access that alkaline pond for subsistence into the future. That's number 2. Number 1, under our kapu in Kanawai, one of our most sacred kapu here is the accessibility and the quality of our fresh water. And so you'll see how this area is truly being negatively affected by what's happening on the Aina around it. And as a native Hawaiian, it is our responsibility to malamara Aina, and it is not being taken care of. And so the community would like to return that parcel back to Maha as a community space, because we've realized over the years that being so close to something so sacred puts a heavy burden upon the beneficiary to Malama. And so that'll be our first stop. You'll see it. If I feel it's safe to stop, we will stop. If I see particular people that may make the environment not safe for us, we're going to continue. And so that happens. That happens here. So be very much aware that there may be instances that may be, that could be dangerous. Okay. My car is not going. My husband is going home with the kids. I am jumping in a car, and I will be the lead car. Okay, let's go. So that the stewards and beneficiaries living on the Mauka side can access the resources on the Makai side. And so we have had multiple attempts from non-beneficiaries to, they're gonna go make sure it's safe for us to go, to claim this area. When we was younger, it was one group of people. That's a whip. So there's people in there. That whip drives my father crazy, he says. He's a Vietnam vet, so when he hears that whip, it sounds like something else. And so the most recent attempt to claim this area was by a non-beneficiary. He's not on the wait list. His name was Danny Weaver. And so the Provisional Investigative Group, the number 1, was established because Maha was communicating with Danny Weaver. And the communication was that this is a community space. No one should be residing here because it's for access to all beneficiaries. 2, if you would like to become a Maha member, these are the steps to be a Maha member. Through that, we identified that he was not a beneficiary, so he could not become a Maha member. When we told him he could not become a Maha member, he was not very accepting of that. And so he didn't want to leave. And so we worked with the department and with the East Hawaii office to remove him. Through that removal, created the Provisional Investigative Group on Kings Landing to understand how that process went down. And so he was trespassed, he was removed. The department took the person and his personal belongings. Maha removed the structure with the resources that we had and with the means that we had to do it. And so we cleaned out the area. We had one community wedding, one community gathering, and then someone else came in. And so we lost the ability to use our community resource yet again. The department put up this gate after the removal of Danny Weaver. And then after our community wedding and one community event, his daughter, Aulani Weaver, came in, cut the department lock and put her own lock, and claimed the Aina and said that she was going to use this as a rehabilitation site for drug abuse. And so she welcomed all the people out there from Lehia into King's Landing to use our Aina as a drug rehabilitation. And so they were here for a few months, and then I haven't seen Aulani Weaver, and then there's still remnants of that group of people that are here. And so this is why we're working with LMD to remove. We would really like to gain access back to our community resource. Later we'll see our community center. We have our community meetings there, but sometimes we like to be able to move them around, and when you come in, you'll see why this is a very much more welcoming space for our community. It provides a place for the adults to be talking politics, and then provides a place for the keiki to swim. We don't have a lot of safe swimming areas in King's Landing.
Because the ocean is called?
The name of the ocean by our kupuna is Kai'ai Kanaka, which translates as man-eating ocean. There has been a lot of loss along this coastline by experienced fishermen, non-experienced fishermen. My father has many of stories of almost not making it home. So this is our one swimmable area as a community. After that, it's all coast. It's all cliff. Oh, there's Uncle Isin, former president. Hi, Uncle! That's my dad's brother.
Are we waiting for them to come back?
I think so that we can go in. Yes. Any questions while we wait?
So is this left open now? Or do you continue to lock it up?
I don't know if Nina put this lock back on. I don't know if this is, I say us or them. I don't know if this is us or them. So.
That sounds good.
So A, B, the county, so we've been trying to work with the county for car removal. So the process is they have to come in and reserve. So they put that A, B, which is their notification that we want to put.
It's an abandoned vehicle?
Yes. We have a relationship with them that we take it out into the county space where we're at. They'll take it from there. And so Nina has been trying to find us something. So she's been trying to work on her own, and land management has been trying to find them. It's hard to find someone to come here. I think so. They're not sure what kind of the land. Yeah, it's the land. You know, like you'll see the city. My father had to help another beneficiary member. His car had to be removed, and my father went to help him remove it, and he almost died. So this is the deed and the unknown record.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Right now, same turn. Same turn. Yeah. Yeah, same turn. So when I found out that happened here,
No.
and I yeah. Well, it was Skippy, you know, cutting, but still having to go through, you know. So I see the cracks and everything.
Sign up for camping at your house. You know, want to do like a calendar. Yeah. Well, for safety. That's not, he's not, this person's not. Oh my god, they brought a bus in here. This bus was not here the last time.
Something new every time, yeah.
Something new every time.
What's new? Oh, there's a bus.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my.
new from the last time we were here.
Okay.
So yeah, so these people are not Maha members, and we don't access it because we don't know what's happening here. And so, like you can see, this is our one safe swimming area for our keiki. Yeah, right there. We envision having like a community calendar where the community can sign up for camping, you know, with your family. And we also, like in the future, once we have better management, also opening this up to other beneficiary communities to sign up for camping. You know, like Honoka'a Homestead or Pana'eva Homestead, Honua. You know, we want to open that up because this is one of those safe areas, safer areas.
So we
But it'd probably be very managed, like camping in the summer, not in the winter.
we can go down there.
Yes, we can go down there.
On the other side
It's the Kanaka. It's the man eating.
that is
Deep.
Holly,
Come inside.
we feel that hey, it's my commission. You've been here already. Because you know why? Us guys, this is not my first round with college. This is not his first round with us. So every time we get new you guys, we gotta retrain them. You know, so the thing going on now. You gotta have, that's why, one thing we learn from Hawaiian homes, like I tell a girl, is patience. But we wait a lot. You know, so our patience threshold has grown. But now me and him, we're in the top half of the fourth quarter. And it's not that funny anymore. What's funny when my dick was deep. But now my dick's shrinking. It's not that funny. Okay? So what we proposing over here with Andrew them is to create a process where you travel at your own economic velocity. You're not held hostage by the bank. Because Hawaiian Homes don't own Hawaiian property no more. Bank of Hawaii own the Hawaiian property. Not the Kanaka, the bank owner. So we're trying to buckle loose from that depression by oppression. So this is part of the relief. But you see, my house, I get money. You know, so I can build to code. But it's not necessary if you talk to architects. Oh my girl. They talk to the architects because no more snow. You know, so there's a lot of things that we gotta develop to the economic velocity of 20 miles an hour. What the department get down for the Hawaiian people, the economic velocity is about 80 miles an hour. So this velocity, I would say, maybe 30 miles an hour. But my most concern, you know, you guys came in the front. That's all Kanakas, you know. It's all from Kawaihae. They don't can afford Kawaihae. They bought a house, so they're sleeping on the beach. So this, when me was high school, we used to sing Manuela Boy. My dear boy, no more Hila, where he was living. Alapaka. Now he live in Lehia Park. So it's supposed to be ours who can handle Manao for go grab them. If they're lazy, don't drag them far. Like I was telling him, if you're going nowhere, any road work. So we have to, you know, develop. I like to talk to him about how to create like, you know, the Indians in their teepee. When a hurricane comes, they move. Or the houses get dirty leaky. Same like the people who sleep Waimea, Nanakule, Ha'ula, over here. When the big storm comes, they break down and they tie rope. Then when the storm passes, they pull them back up. So that's been going on for 50, 67, oh shit, from 1920. So what this is a different degree than what I'm trying to tell him and all you guys, is how to normalize living in a tent without the stigma. Because when John Okuhio went look, he never see Donald Trump. He saw all those people, Lehia Beach, where you guys came in. They're all from Kyokaha, you know. That's my cousin, the one with the cooler. That's my cousin. So, Apoto. Okay, now this is my outhouse right here. I like you guys go inside, look at my outhouse. I've been learning this for the hippies. You see, like, over here, get on. You dig down into the Pahuehoi, the bag of coal, then you go up. So I bring them up. Go inside, look. No more smell. Because down there cold, then you put the 6-inch black pipe. The pipe come hot. He suck all the stink out. You don't smell stink, eh? How simple. So, okay, go look. Aloha. Go hang up inside.
Sorry, just a little bit, Papa. Sorry. Okay, so thank you. So this is Dad Hale. I wanted us to come here today so that we could see an opportunity of what architecture could look like in a kauhale or a kuleana subsistence type of living. So under the administrative rules, the community can retain the right to develop its own building permitting process. And so I am the president of Maha, the community association, but I'm also the executive, what is my title? Executive director of our family foundation, which is the KBE William Iwane Legacy Foundation. We opened up a nonprofit to manage everything that my father has done in his lifetime. And so through the foundation, I applied for a Department of Interior grant, their Kapapahuliao grant. And in that Kapapahuliao grant, I'm requesting, I'm working in partnership with G70, the planning department that does our settlement plan, to create an architectural plan for our future homesteaders. And that plan includes, like my father was saying, multiple possible samples based on your economic velocity. So this is what you can afford, or this is what you can afford, or this is what you can afford. The idea is to make it kind of like a la carte for what the architect or the structure of the house will look like, what the electric will look like, whether that electric is battery, whether that electric is 12 volt or another form of electric, Maybe Dad's gonna show how he does his electric. Different forms of water. So Dad does catchment. When we were younger, some of our families pooled from their alkaline pond, but that water was for like watering plants and for taking a shower, but not for drinking. They would bring in their own drinking water. So giving multiple opportunities based on what you can afford for water. So structure, electric, water, and then partnering with Yome for waste treatment. So having multiple options for how to deal with waste. We will find out the end of June next month if we move to the next phase of the grant cycle. If we are awarded that grant, it begins in August and it's a 5-year grant. And it will start year 1 with working with G70 to plan the architectural design of multiple hale types. As well as I asked Kavika of G70 if he could look for somebody to help us with the permitting process. And so, really excited for that opportunity because like we've seen with the chairman outside with my Uncle Nui, that a lot of the times the stress about dealing with beneficiary anxiety, dealing with gate trespassing, dealing with the wait list and carrying all of the anxiety that you saw from my uncle about what is my wait list number, am I going to get kicked out, and are we getting evicted, stepping away from that and having the opportunity to look at what I call fun things, creating an architectural plan for building hale, now that's fun. Looking at multiple ways to provide beneficiaries different avenues for electric, now that's fun. How are we going to bring water and how are we going to malama our waste so that we're malamaing aina, now that's fun. So I'm really hoping we can move forward with that, and I'm really looking forward to that day. Sorry, we did Alan Kalui thing.
Huh? You guys saw him?
No. No.
You got that name? The office.
No.
Yeah. You guys saw him on the road?
We will stop and talk with. Well, I asked the chairman to talk with him so that they can understand what's happening. He's confused, I think. Okay, so we're gonna go in so you can see what the hale looks like, and then we'll walk into where the waste is, and you can see the water and you can see the electric, so that we can have an idea of this is what it could look like. This is how I grew up. So if you're gonna ask me, or if you're wondering about what that might be, I grew up like this. I was born at home. My father and my mother are very brave. My mother is very brave. Gave birth to 5 of her kids at home at Waika'alulu.
All I did was hot one, hot two.
And so I grew up on catchment, and so does a lot of people in Puna. I grew up with solar for electric. At night, if we wanted to watch color TV, we started up a generator. We had gas stove, that's how I grew up. We had paloma, hot water. And so, can somebody raise a family in this lifestyle? Yes, they can. I am a product of that. Refrigerator.
Julie was my house.
Yeah, refrigerator is propane refrigerator. And so electric was really just to turn on the lights.
So this isn't the original home you grew
No,
up
this is not our original home. It's at Waika'alulu. When we were 17, my mother did not believe in the department anymore. She told my father that if you're going to believe that the department is going to carry its kuleana, then you stay here. But I need to go and get something to secure. I have 6 keiki. I got to secure their future in Hawaii, because my mother was brave, and then she was brilliant, because if she didn't retain that, we all know what prices of aina is like now in Hawaii. She had 6 kids, and she wanted to make sure that we could always call Hawaii home. We know so much people who have to leave because they can't afford it. So Mom bought aina out in Mountain View, and when we were 18, we moved there. He was not happy. He didn't come at first. He didn't want to. And then, as brave as you think you can be, you're not brave when you don't have your family. So Dad, we all left Waika'alulu. It's sad for me today when I think about it, but I was 18 then. I was ready for color TV. I was ready for paved road. I was ready for hot shower on demand, not hot shower when there was gas in the propane. So it was an exciting experience when you're 18, but now when you have keiki, and then you drive past Waika'alulu and it's no longer your home, then it can begin to affect you. So we left, and then when my sister Laka was able to come home and take care of my mom, Dad decided, okay, I did my duties to my family. My kids are grown. I'm going back to the village. And so 7 years ago, Dad came back to the village and asked to be a Maha member again. And so when he came back, somebody had taken on the responsibility of Honoka'a, and so Dad picked a new spot, and this is our new spot. And we've been here for 8 years now.
All right. What is we're supposed to have lunch here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we distribute? Or somebody can say grades, and then we distribute, and then whoever wants to walk around and look, they can do that too. Who's a good?
Anybody want to pull it for the food? Oh, okay. I will do yellow pipino. You want to do yellow pipino with me? Have a couple? Okay.
Who is this?
This is my niece, Have a couple. She is the daughter of my younger sister. Okay, follow.
Thank you.
Okay, and then yourself.
Actually, when I opened my eyes, it was that what suction. It was that farm I could swim. You know, and so then when I was in it, I said, "Oh, you okay?" I said, "Okay, that's right." He goes, "This washing machine actually we're gonna have to go out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the coast area is community use for the community to discuss. And we want to create a management of the resources. So when it comes to things like local safety, I think we'll discuss that. There was a neighbor. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think the larger community will be excited about that too. I think that there's been a lot of want for the larger, especially other beneficiaries like the Honoka'a homestead community. They want to, come in and access the ocean resources as well. And so we want to be able to be at a place where we can safely say that.
Yeah, you don't have to miss.
Yeah.
So we're coming towards the end of our time.
Yes.
Was there, you want to gather the group and have last words?
Oh, sure.
Oh, we just lost.
Oh,
The rowing.
Brian.
Yeah, now you're trespassing. You're gonna be on the coast side, then you're not trespassing.
This is where the Levi's are.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that their home?
They actually live in that thing?
No, they used to, and then they used to. It was only just like one family member, and then we had the whole right of entry, gray area, and then the land settlement island. So a lot of the community has kind of decided, I'm gonna just put a pause real fast, except for my dad. I'm gonna put a pause real fast on the things that I've been doing because I don't know what the future of it is. Except for dad, he's not doing everything every day, no matter what.
Yeah, your dad is a mover.
Yeah.
Right?
Do people weave? Are there weavers?
Not in our community.
I was gonna ask because I've been eyeing out all
Oh yeah, plenty low.
and it's long
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's a good low. It's in our non-profit mission teaching weaving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta learn.
Yeah, my nana used to.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can pick and clean 'cause for hula I have to make skirts, but it's not my forte.
I've been doing all my Pu'ukapu. There's a lot of weavers.
Oh.
My teacher was a lot.
The ending of the DHHL property line is actually that wall right there. So some of you were trespassing for a little bit. So this is where the Ka'a'ave family lived for multiple generations before the land became a part of the department's inventory. This Levi Ohana, now stewards and manages this aina. I was sharing with the chairman that we're having continued trespassing concerns. There's a gate over there that outside community members had removed because now they're using Queen's Landing to get to the nearby property, because on the nearby property is Papa'i Bay. Papa'i is a beautiful bay, great for fishing, very safe. It also has very historical significance. Papa'i is where Kamehameha got hit with the paddle and created the law of the splinter paddle. And so now, Royal Order of Kamehameha recently got the stewardship responsibilities of Papa'i, and so I know them and I'm really excited to see the future for Maha and relationship with our nearby property. Mahalo. Mahalo everybody for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Lehua, where are we going now?
Okay, so
I mean,
2 o'clock,
Lehia.
Texas Drive-In is our next stop, where we meet up with Shireen and Ray for our Honoka'a Parcels.
Okay.
I'm on our drive out. The terminal can drop me off. Home is right outside. I'm going to take the back road so you can see the other end of our boundary line, which is the Nene boundary line. So you can see, where that other space is. And I'll just point it out, determine, and you guys will all see. And I live right over there.
You know, under Act 279, some of the money we used to acquire new land. So this is one of the projects where we're acquiring new land. And then we're hopeful we can build maybe up to 300 new homesteads, taking people off the wait list. And so this was part of one of the proposals that were submitted, or was submitted, under one of our RFPs that we issued out. And so what I wanted to do is give you guys an opportunity to see the area. As you can see, the surrounding areas. Great location, a lot of things. There's a hospital, there's an area that is potential that we may acquire from the Hawaii Public Housing Authority. There's also commitment land throughout this area that we also might acquire. And so what I wanted to do was have Ray or Shireen to do a little presentation. Then when we're through, then we'll drive to the site, we'll stop, and then you'll be able to actually look at it. Okay, Shireen and Ray?
If you look at the map, orient the blue on the top, that's the mountain side of the freeway. Okay, the pink is actually the Makai side. Okay, we're sitting on the corner, okay, to the left, okay, where Texas Drive-In is. Basically, on this corner right here. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with Honoka'a. Okay, this is a very historic town. Okay, it's got a tremendous amount of social infrastructure. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys know, but at one point this was the second largest town on Hawaii Island. Okay, at the turn of the century. Okay, obviously it's the gateway to Waipio. It's just got a tremendous amount of history. Now let's talk about social infrastructure. As the chair said, we have one of the older hospitals around here, and it's been here since 1951. Okay, it was a consolidation of all the various plantation hospitals and the ethnic hospitals in the region, and they finally put it together as a common hospital for everybody. So, and it's fully operational with the emergency room. If you look towards this side, you have the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school pretty much on the same contiguous site. Okay, so you've got a lot of the educational background here. Across the street from the school, directly below us, is the park and the community center, which is a great social infrastructure for this community. Okay? It's a large park with a lot of activities and functions inside there. It has retail. KTA has one of their smaller stores here. Okay, we've got a lot of activity in terms of small businesses, coffee shops. Obviously, you see the here in Texas, we have a lot of this facility. So this is a great location to put a community in place. It's got all the key infrastructure. Now, what's even more important is there's a sewage treatment plant down the street, which basically is the only sewage treatment plant and the newest sewage treatment plant on the island. It's the only one that was not under the EPA dictate. So, we're working with the Hawaii Island people to make sure that we can use that infrastructure for this community. And they're definitely considering it because, they have a mission right now to convert everything, all the individual sewer treatment systems, okay, and convert them onto sewer. And they're trying to focus on this area, but if we commit to move forward, they're gonna put us at the front of the list. So that's what we're trying to work with. Okay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Honoka'a has some of the earliest drainage systems on this island. There are two major drainage structures that pretty much run down. So we have an area that we can drain the property. There is a fairly new active well out with us that we're going to supplement for a backup well, which provides not only water for our community, but for future communities, as the chair mentioned, that because there are other, KS lands nearby that we're going to try to see revitalized. Hawaiian homelands themselves have some parcels. Where the Boy Scout camp is further on down, it's across the street. We have something for some subsistence that, which they don't have enough water, but if we supplement the Hawaii Water Department, they can provide water for that one too. So we have an opportunity to energize the Hawaiian homelands. Okay. Now, if you look at the property on the map, the blue is on the mountain side of the beltway, okay, and this one is on the Makai side. Combined together, potentially we have 300 units, but the biggest challenge in front of us is grading, okay, because there is elevation differences. Some of the good things about elevation differences is that it helps in terms of the drainage and it provides a lot of view planes for our beneficiaries. View planes from this area, as you can tell, is wonderful. Okay? But again, we have to figure out how we are going to efficiently grade the site. From a development standpoint, we have two choices. We can mass grade and level the area down, or we can terrace. I can't tell you which is the best way yet, because that's what we have to have engineers study the analysis to figure out what is the more efficient way for us to do. And the other part is, obviously, we have to consider all the internal roadways, because they're going to be fairly steep. So what is the most efficient and best way to create that community? We don't know yet. That's an engineering exercise. Now, obviously, we're located centrally between Hilo and Kona, and obviously Waimea. Okay? I think it is a good location for all that. And again, as the chair says, as the other opportunities for us to work with KS on some of their properties, which my personal feeling is probably more suitable for subsistence ag rather than housing. But we can work with that as a total. So what I'm going to do is we're going to drive in kind of a circle. We're going to go outside of Texas and we'll pull over on the freeway. Okay, at a vantage location we can see the mountain, Makai parcel. We'll stop there for a few minutes, then we're going to drive, continue on, make a right turn down and go down to the hospital so you can see the hospital. Now, one thing the chair pointed out is we have the opportunity to acquire a parcel adjacent to the hospital, okay, that was originally meant as a senior housing project, which never got off the ground. Okay? But again, it sounds like a great location for Kapuna housing, okay, or elsewhere. But it is a nice location that is adjacent to our parcel, and it's basically sandwiched between the hospital and our parcels. Again, across the street we have the park. All the good social infrastructure I think is good to have. Now, then after that we'll make a turn and we'll drive by the schools and the parks, so you get a feel for that. Okay? And then we'll eventually head back down to Mamalahoa Street, which is the main street of Honoka'a, where you have more of the historic housing and retail. And then we'll head back up here. Okay? So, unless you guys have some questions you want to ask. Okay?
Do we know why the senior didn't take off?
Money, okay, like most situations. But, on top of that, they had plans for 75 senior housing lots. I would try to increase that number, okay, depending on what the demand is. I don't know what that demand is on this island for our seniors, but it's something we need to consider. Okay? But the good news is they went through the process. They did their own EIS. So it's somewhat shovel ready.
Yeah, the Hawaii Public Housing Authority, they they got 10,000 houses they're building elsewhere. So this particular parcel is not really on their radar, and they've already made inquiries as to whether they'd be willing to transfer that land to us. Again, I mean, some of you may disagree with me, but I'm still very committed, at least individually, to trying to work with our other lead trusts, such as the Hilo home, and then addressing the needs of the kupuna. And one of the models is, obviously, makes a lot of sense, is locating a kupuna housing programs or what have you, right adjacent to a medical facility. This particular one, and possibly no cost to us, might be available. So that's something I want to explore. And, so in a way, does anybody have any questions? I think this is, when you look at the bigger picture, rather than just the land we're acquiring, there's a lot of potential for it. It's in a great neighborhood. And I think people would really be excited about it. It's also a parcel or a project that I'd like to get active in making out awards. And these would be obviously paper, because it's a long development period ahead of this thing. But in the interim, I'd like to at least make out more awards. Similar to like the King's Landing. That's a little ways off. But and some of you saw the Lehia between some of the people there. And to me, one way, and I think Kolui, the guy I was getting an earful, his problem is he believes we're trying to displace him. That's why we're gonna, you know what, Uncle Louis, here's your lot, man. Stop getting nuts on us, and be happy. And your sister over there is getting one. Your grandson over here is getting another. We're not looking to displace you. But I think in trying to address all the people on our waiting list, these are the kind of projects that make a lot of sense. I think people on our wait list would really be excited. It's like Kauai, Lehui. We're going to do 1,200 over there. People are getting excited about that. All the different islands, we're trying to acquire parcels like this. And I thank Ray and the group, including Shireen and LDD, for identifying these kind of parcels. And I also thank the Commission for not only recognizing it, but setting aside funds to move the process along. So it's some exciting time. I think it's going to be a really exciting homestead area that we look forward to again. Okay, so I know we're going to take a look at it. Okay, and we'll follow you. Okay. Now, is there that...
The tree's not burned.
Right. So the poles, telephone pole lines are probably... That's where it is.
Yeah, so they approved the acquisition.
And the 296 homes to be on this side or combination?
Both, combination.
Just before the tree. And adjacent is the one with
There's KS, yeah.
This goes all the way down to the woods.
And then pretty much the whole to have percent on that area.
We're going to go down there.
Yeah. So, also
So would that be down to that tree line? Probably.
pretty close because there's some houses built along the roadway there. Okay, so we're basically, south of that. Oh yeah, that's why I built in quite a bit of money for it.
$60 million. That's just for site.
Right. And 15 million was going to be to clear and grade.
The initial infrastructure master plan is part of the 1.2.
To me, it's not just a view, the social infrastructure. For access
access to the community center, the schools close by, you know, the closer, very close to jobs. So, right. Secondary roadway access, because it is fairly steep, so grading becomes the key question. And by the way, just so in case any of you noticed, there are some homeless. They're being kicked out next week. We already contacted the police on that.
Okay, so the thing, actually, the 45, speed limit sign over there is the edge of the blue, but for this side, the Makai side, it's
Keeps
further
on
down.
going, yes.
Oh, okay.
The larger parcel is on the Makai side.
Right.
And we're going to be driving, okay, pretty much straight through, because Lehia Street cuts across here. By the way, this road is
It's a paper road
paper, it
only.
doesn't
It
exist.
doesn't-
I have a question. Is there going to be any beneficiary consultation as a part of the planning process?
That's required. Okay? I mean, what we're proposing is what we're proposing.
Yeah.
Okay, but
That's Andrew.
Well, I work for Andrew, and this is my local, so that's why I'm wondering, at what phase do we engage with our beneficiaries?
that's a chair question. But one thing I'm going to tell you is the plan on this site is 5,000 square foot lots. Now, everyone's going to argue, why not 75,000? But bear in mind, this part project can be connected directly to sewer. The only reason why most people have 75 to 10,000 is that you need the additional square footage for leach fields for the ISW units. But you won't need that here because we're going to basically be connected directly to sewer. So without the need for a leach field, we can condense ourselves to a smaller parcel, which is the future anyway, because we need to increase densities to satisfy more beneficiaries. And this is actually, we want to make this much more of an, it's not an urban project, but it's close to urban as we can get because you have all this infrastructure, not the technical infrastructure, but the social infrastructure, which makes it something more amenable for people to be closer together. Okay, I mean, if you're in the country, I can understand bigger lots. But in this type of environment, I'm not sure that would be the same. But that's another question for the beneficiaries. We need to talk to them and educate them as to why it's different.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at 296 units at 5,000 versus 250 at 7,500. So 5,000 units. Then we're going to do other stuff, subsistence ag. We're going to hopefully acquire some lands from KS. So that might be more in line with the larger lot. But for this particular neighborhood, let's check it out. See what they do.
If you go further down the freeway where you see all the Euclid Street, that's probably its Parcels. Okay? And my personal feeling based on the topography and everything else, it's actually pretty good for subsistence. I don't really think it's, but it doesn't have the same infrastructure. Okay, let's move on to the next slide.
Partner. So based on this report, there's been periodic but not consistent funding to address all of the various sites. So one of the recommendations was to post a number of signs at these locations, and Kalani has already let us know that, you know, more signs out there, you know, just basically mess up the environment. So we did post a few signs. There's a concern that was made by one of the residents out there related to speeding and the number of near accidents that he's had. So there's a series of signs that I'm talking to him about. And, you know, again, like any other roadway, the majority of the problems are related to speeding. And it doesn't help that these roads are, you know, considered ag standard roads and constructed pretty much dirt, gravel, and cinder. So, traction isn't, comparable to driving on asphalt. And so, there's more work to be done, and the discussion at the last meeting focused primarily on, how much money it would cost to bring these roads up to a county, state, or federal standards. And so, just as an example, prior to the department deciding to construct a water system, when they looked at the numbers to construct a county standard water system was approximately $70 million. And the decision was made at that time by the administration to do what they called a hybrid system. So we get water from the county, and once it's on site, we pump it to 2 separate stations and then gravity flow to the different homesteads. The water's non-potable. In order to make it potable, we would have to treat the water at the different sites. So again, the decision made by the administration at that time, about 2012, was to put in this hybrid system, which basically would be ag or irrigation standard water. But anyway, we're gonna drive through portions of Pu'ukapu, so, the commissioners and staff can see what the residents have been dealing with since basically, 1952 and more recently, 1989 and 90, when the last major awards were made for pasture lots. So, does anybody have a question?
I assume you have TMK maps for us to look at regarding the parcels that are supposed to look at?
No, well, I just asked Andrew about that. So, the parcels that he had in the notice are these blocks, and again, you would have to ask Andrew, the purpose of that. But basically, there's 3 sections out there, and the tax maps that were, submitted to us are colored on this one map.
Jim, maybe you can just hold the thing up and kind of explain to the
Okay,
commissioner.
so the area in pink, that's the largest lots in Pu'ukapu, and these are 200 acres. And then you have blocks of 15 to 20 acres, and then the majority of the lots are 10 acres in size.
How many leases were awarded in 91?
Well, in 1990, there were 182 leases awarded, so one lot was not awarded and another lot was reserved for a portion of the water system. But altogether, there was 184 lots. So, just for reference purposes, prior to 1990, the last time the department did pasture awards was 1952. And the majority of those lots were around 300 acres in size. Due to the number of applicants on the pasture list, when the 1990 awards were made, the recommendation was to award smaller lots. And so again, the largest lots out there are 200 acres. The further you go towards Kona, the drier it gets. So the better lots are the 100-acre lots that we'll see towards the end of the tour. And those are closer to Hilo village. And again, when the rain comes from this side of the island, it drops, or the rainfall diminishes the further you get towards Kona.
Jim, on the awards, how many of them are actually whether raising PP or loans or doing anything with it?
just a fraction. You know, if we take a look at the number of water accounts that we have, there's about 50 accounts. And so if there's a total of 182 leases, you know, you can do the math. And I think part of it has to do with how long it took to get water out there. And, you know, I would go back, and for the, you know, commissioner's purposes, if you take a look at the 1985-86 awards for ag lots, and then you take a look at these 1990 awards, not only the pasture lots here in Waimea, but you have pasture and ag lots at South Point, you have a few pasture lots up in Humu'ula. It's difficult for people to, you know, make a go of it, especially if you look at the carrying capacity for Pu'ukapu of one animal unit to approximately 10 to 15 acres. So, you know, for the smaller lots, at best, you're looking at, you know, one horse or one peepee. People have, you know, raised sheep, and, you know, it's a management thing. As long as it rains and the grass is growing, it's fine, but other than that, you know, people are having to, you know, buy feed for their animals. So it's a difficult approach, especially on these smaller lots. And if you know anything about ranching, you know, just the fencing alone is expensive. So the only lots that were required to fence and begin using their homesteads at the beginning were the 100-acre lots. So again, majority, if you take 50 from 182, you know, 80 some odd lots are not being, you know, utilized. And again, for the accelerated awards, 85, 86, and these pasture awards, a number of those lessees do not reside on the island, even though the leases require them to live here. And there's that balance between employment and, you know, guaranteed jobs someplace, and versus, you know, coming to the big island and not having those same opportunities. So there's different reasons why people are not here, why they're not using their homesteads.
Are there beneficiaries that want to occupy but maybe having challenges? And if there are, what kind of challenges are there?
Well, I think the major challenge is employment. You know, when you talk to people that are, you know, on Oahu as an example, it's difficult for them to just uproot and come here and not have, you know, any guaranteed source of income. And I think, you know, more recently, because of the unexploded ordinance situation, you know, the federal funding through HUD was, you know, put on hold. So, you know, with the Army Corps of Engineer report and DOH agreeing to that, HUD financing should become available. But again, I think it's a tough goal when you're, you know, off island or out of state, and, you know, being able to have a guaranteed source of income. Any other questions?
How will amending the commencement date provide better opportunities for those individuals relocating, wanting to occupy and utilize the lots?
Well, I think that's up for debate, but there are some people that would like to build homes on their lots. And without the department being able to submit information to the county about the lessee and about the lease, we're not able to complete that route slip. And in the submittal, it states the two options that the county tax office has mentioned. If we continue to, or if we decide on the option of February 1st of 1991, if that's reported this year, then the county will expect lessees to start paying real property taxes beginning in 2025. If the commencement date is, approved for sometime in 2024, then based on that date, the county will allow the 7-year real property tax exemption. So, sometime 2031 is when the taxes would be assessed. And the minimum property tax is $100. So if there's no improvements, that's what people get taxed, $50 twice a year. Yes?
Are there homes out in Pu'ukapu?
There are a number of homes in the area. Another consideration is, because it took the department so long to do, various things, the majority of homes out there most likely will not comply with the building code of the county.
So anything that's out there then is just unpermitted structure?
The majority are unpermitted, and there's no information from the lessee to the department to consider reviewing their plans to build homes. There are some people early on that were able to get building permits, but at the time of the award, the parcels that were on record were 100, 200, 400 acres in size, and if the zoning is Ag 40, then you have a 200-acre parcel. Theoretically, 40 into 200, the county would have considered issuing 5 building permits. But again, it was kind of hit and miss, and there were different things going on between Hawaiian Homes and the county at that time, where the county would tell beneficiaries, you don't need a permit from us, we don't have jurisdiction, and basically, do whatever, while, in the lease, it does talk about improvements, and it talks about compliance with laws. The county ordinance related to building permits is one of those, laws.
Jim, if we were to kind of help facilitate people actually putting housing on these parcels, 180 or 50, some of them have, some majority don't. All the ones that need to be, permitted as well as used. If we were to kind of help facilitate people putting houses on where they could live in, do you think it kind of get these areas a little more active?
I think it would help, but there's more questions that would need to be asked to the individual homesteaders about, one, employment. Are you ready, willing to relocate, within the next year? And most of the people that I've talked to that are still working, they want to wait until they're retired before they move. So housing is one part of the equation, but I'm sure there's more that the individual homesteaders have on their mind.
But these particular lots, they don't have potable.
No, they don't have potable water.
If we were to maybe treat the water that we now get from the county, that's restricted to agricultural use, which is just a matter of treating it, then we could turn it into potable. We could provide the water that would help facilitate residential development. There's also the catchment. These are large lots, so it could be catchment.
Yeah, I think that's a question for planning and the Department of Health. So if you wanted potable water, again, you'd have to treat it, and I don't know what the cost would be based on the current system, because once you come to the first tank, you're gonna have to treat it there, the second tank, and the third site. So
the easier would be catchment.
I don't think catchment is realistic in Pu'ukapu. you know, again, because of the limited rainfall, you know, that's a major consideration. And, you know, there's certain homestead areas where water catchment might make sense. So again, we get back to, if you're gonna build a potable system, then you wanna build it to the county standard, which has a, you know, price tag on it. Yes.
Catchment system, we can do that with 60 to 80 inches, which is at the bottom of 10 of Our rainfall here is maybe 25 to 45. Another question, I don't know if there's something we can, a question, Jim referred questions to planning, but I wonder if there's some questions also that we can deal with the county to make some kind of, the wrong word is deal, but what kind of arrangements can we make to be able to work through that subdivision approval process to allow? And another thing is, if you treat the water at, what is the consequence of the person using it when the water is treated so close? I mean, has there been a hydrologist or somebody, you talking about Department of Health, who's gonna determine, well, you can put the water, treat the water at the different tanks, that's gonna be all right for us to drink? I don't know if it is. Do we know if it is at that close distance?
Well, I think if you look at the Department of Health guidelines for a public water system, they have a list of things that have to be addressed in order for them to designate a public water system. So we have that in Kawaihae, but again, further discussion with DOH. You know, I think one of the major holdups to, you know, providing potable water is the Department of Water Supply wants Hawaiian homes to develop a source. And, you know, without that source development, you know, more of the subdivisions that we're getting for ag and pasture lots, when it's reviewed by water supply, they're saying there's not sufficient water. And so, again, depending on the area where this subdivision is taking place, some of those lessees were able to get a variance and substitute water catchment. So again, you know, source development would make a huge difference. And, you know, we've looked at LDD planning for source development in Kawaihae, but nothing that I'm aware of in 30 years for the Waimea area. And this is the primary source for the county system in this area is, you know, the surface runoff or wells. I mean, we could possibly drill a well as an option, but you still need to find the water.
Jim, outline first where we're going to stop, since we have a lot of people.
Okay, we're gonna go up on Mana Road and then onto Fire Road 7. We'll go, you know, we'll go into these areas here, and then eventually we'll come back on Poliahu to go through where Mike Hodson is doing his thing, just to drive through so the commission understands what's happening on that 160 acres.
We swing by Lalanino too.
What would you like to see in Lalanino? Phase 1, phase 2?
Well, we did phase 1 already.
Yes.
So phase 2.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay. Any other
So,
questions?
you know, again, if any other commissioners wanna take a look at these maps, you know, the sites for the recommended improvements, that go along with this report.
Has a 6-inch transmission line that goes up 1 hour road, and where we turned on through that gate, it reduces to 4-inch, and then it services this tank. So the 1952 awarded lots have potable water directly from the county. But this is where the system stops right here. Everything else that's been constructed, since 2013 is the Hawaiian homes. So this is the second site. That tank to the left, that was originally part of the Pu'ukapu pastoral hui that serviced about 40 some odd homesteaders. And then once we put in this system, the water goes into this tank, but it's pumped from the lower tank. So when we're on our way out on Poliahu, you'll see that bottom tank. So it gets pumped from there to here. And then you can't see it, but where that pool is, that's the third storage tank. And then everything is gravity fed to the lots. But again, you only have about 45 customers that are signed up. So, that's one of the, concerns that we built this system, hoping that everybody would sign up. But again, you do the math, you got 182 leases, but you only have 50 customers. So, not sufficient income. So this is one of those systems that the department is subsidizing. So, on the way in, most of the lots that you saw were the 1952 awarded 300 acres. Yeah, and so, once we came around that turn and we came to the next street, everything on the right hand side are all the 10-acre lots that were awarded in 1990. So I'm gonna drive to the next road. We'll go up so you can see some of those homesteads. We'll come back across, and then we'll stop where the 200 acres go in. I don't think we're going to go into that area, and then make our way back down towards Kuhio Village, the farm lots.
Jim, how far did the fire come down?
Wow, it was close, over this hill.
Okay.
So Jim, you said that this is potable water?
That is potable.
And it's still potable?
It's still potable.
How many people are on potable water?
Well, about 30.
And they're all signed up?
Well, this is the 1952 awarded. Yeah. So, throughout time, the county put in this system.
Right.
But, the majority of the lots don't have the...
So when you say signed up, what do you mean? I mean, if you put in a water system, there's a base rate.
Well, again, throughout the, from 1952 till about 1970, the county put in this water line, and it goes up to the Hawaiian homes Nie pasture lots, so they have potable water up there too. So again, these are long-time awarded lots that were accommodated.
This system here is non-potable.
Non-potable because it's not treated.
Right.
So at the main meter, before it goes into the first storage tank, it's potable.
Okay. All right. And then from there, it's non-potable because it's not treated.
Because it's not treated.
But when you say people have signed up, isn't there just a base rate what you got?
No, I think that's something that planning is supposed to be working on.
Yeah.
Our
The rates.
base rate here for that system is $122.41 a month.
Yeah, and so
Based
there's
on-
supposed to be a review of the rates, and Pu'ukapu hasn't been, reviewed for a number of years. So
So the Pu'ukapu non-potable water system, the lessees who are on that system pay a flat rate of $121 something per month.
Ones that signed up for it.
Yeah, so the flat rate means that no matter how much water you use, whether you use a lot or if you use a little, that's what you pay. So it definitely
doesn't encourage people that are not using their lots to use it. If you're being charged for water, then people might encourage you to maybe develop or use your lots.
Well, that's been proposed, but, you know, it hasn't been implemented.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about the Hui tank. We started that as soon as we got up here, run by beneficiaries, by lessees, for 20 years until they came up with this wonderful non-potable system.
Anybody got questions before we continue? Okay, moving right on.
I'm Lily.
And so this balance of this land is going to become it's about 9 portions to 9, 10 with the road that we return back to the department.
Where's the EOC site?
The EOC will be right here, right with this corner right here. So it's the equestrian ranch, Coco, our health center will be over here. So this is the ag one. It's probably gonna be more athletics. Cemetery is the biggest priority. Will be here next to one. Recreation, the kind of facilities. I came earlier to look at this swell that they made. You see these big holes they made. You know what that big rain? Not a drop went there.
Oh, really?
Not a single drop. I was like,
What a waste.
and then I mean you see how every place was flooding. Not a single drop went through that tunnel. It's like, you know, that's because guys engineering and design this stuff not from here. They're not familiar with the land. There's not even a single drop. Kind of wasted area. But yeah. We'll probably figure something out later. So we're just finishing this infrastructure. This is about a little over a mile and a quarter. Not a 1,500 feet, not a quarter mile. It's about 1.5 to 2 miles of road we're looking at. So just this, you guys dealing with infrastructure. Just this infrastructure alone will probably end up running us about $12 million. Finish it. This DOD gonna get us at the final paved road. So we got on 4-inch layer, still gotta go on. We got an 8-inch main, county main, running all the way through. We're gonna tie them in this way. We just gotta tie in this last 10 feet.
Where do we stay right now?
We're right here.
Yeah.
Right at this intersection.
The county's
Section.
giving you potable water.
Yeah, it's designed with them. So we got the county to be part of the engineering. So it's tied in already. I mean, not tied in, but 10 feet away. So all through the county permitting and everything. It's kind of like following the rules. Staying within the.
Have they given you water credits?
No. In fact, just to turn on the water. So we do all the construction, put in this 8-inch main. I think with 11 fire hydrants, and just to tie in this water line, they're like $776,000 as one tie-in fee. So in the DOD grant, I kind of worked with the chair, the director, that we would pay in increments as we develop. So like with this infrastructure, final infrastructure money we getting from DOD, we put in $100,000 for pay them to just tie in, and then when every time something get developed, pay them $100,000 so that we can pay them off. I don't like fight them.
What about the county council?
I was dealing with the mayor, trying to work with him, but hard to work with them until I know that I got the money I can finish them. So like we did this, we finished this part from here all the way back to what you guys gonna come out. Not this past October, November, the following, the past for that 2022, October, November. So that we finished this section from an 800,000 GIA, but I would match them with philanthropic money and Hawaiian Homes money, another 800,000 to finish that process.
Hey, Jaron, are we putting in any fiber optic? Or?
Yeah, so we actually.
How are you?
We actually
You're working with him?
Yeah, I'm working with
Okay.
Mike on this. He was in our grant application, so we would be running fiber to the health center, underground conduits.
Okay.
We're gonna do with overhead electricity, because through that fiber optics grant, big difference on the civil engineering. The civil fiber optic cable, phone, whatever it is, you don't need these cement cases. But if we do help cement casing, 2 lines every 100 feet. So that would we allocated 375 to 400,000 for putting it overhead. We got those numbers from I can't remember the line, but Calvert. I'm working with him on it. Yeah, I think he did a pretty good negotiation in the Pakalana development. The quote they gave me was 17,000 a pole, even within 21 poles. But he said that he worked with them, he got up to that. So hopefully that I'm gonna let him work the numbers. Obviously my numbers are going to come out. So use his numbers, work with him on that. But this will take us to that finish line on the infrastructure, which is a big deal. It's mentioned to Kali, Kenzie Scott. You just pay those white X-ray, be a half of that company. So she just gave us $4 million for comprehensive health center. So we have about 9-10 million in already, as far as we can set aside to build the comprehensive plan. Of course, civil engineering, when they quote pricing, everything's marked out. 16.9 million to finish this comprehensive plan. And so I sat down with our architect and the civil guy. Hope we're going to hire our CDC to be the project manager, construction manager. We can foresee saving them $3 to $4 million by doing that. And it only makes sense because the community development team, we know where everything's staying. You know, we did all the stuff, so the tie-ins and everything, we keep everything in one kitty instead of just hiring one general to go pick on the civil work. And we got a good team. We just lost one of our CDC members, Anthony Phillips. His funeral was yesterday. So he was one of the initial members of our community development team.
Is the county gonna maintain the road?
Well, when we finish
When
this
you
road,
finish, yeah.
we're gonna turn them back to you. But it's built to county standards, so that's why we did that.
Why wouldn't the county take it?
They would. Well, you guys gotta do that. I don't think that. Yeah. So that was the reason why we went build them to county standards. But they're involved in the development, planning, design, everything, the water. So we never had no hiccups.
Has there been any indication that they'll readily accept it?
Because it's going to be built to county standards. I don't think it's an option for them under the emissions act. They're required to. It's that shall word in the emissions act that they shall maintain roads developed by the department. So our CDC is like a branch of the Department of Planning, working in conjunction with partnership. You know,
I didn't hear that.
Turn it back so that they can. Yeah. So I know more. That's one of the reasons why I made sure that we stuck to everything we're doing to county standards. Yeah, we never like no hiccups with them. And the water line, everything is to their regulation. And it's likewise with the state ag, so we get the state ag water coming over here for the ag park. We're not cutting corners on anything. We're staying within that diet.
How's movement on other tenants?
Once we get the survey and we get the boundary pins, which is the next step, so that the meets and bounds is identified for the ag and stuff like that. So then they can start moving for civil engineering. what the perception
is, that's what it is.
conceptual
No, no, I know,
design
I know.
followed by
It's going.
what planning design, what cost factor, how much will cost for building out. Then we can start
Yeah, because all of
fundraising
the permits and
for the different ones. Some similar to what Poco. So Poco is doing that right now. So they're at the point where they're ready to permit. I think we're waiting with Andrew. I think we're waiting for a letter from you. On the zoning.
Yeah, the letter to the county to change the zone.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for that. Then I still gotta work with them on figuring out how to give one address. So like Kano has an address, and so the department identifies this as a 161 acre parcel, but the county identifies this as a 191 acre parcel. So these three parcels is portions of the TMK. There's all portions of the TMK. So this was subdivided by the department, but it never went to the county. So we're doing the same thing. So I get their meets and bounds for all three of these, turn them over to the surveyor. So we're doing a meets and bounds for the balance of the property to identify the parcels. And hopefully we can do that portion of, so we can get one address. So one of the requirements for the electricity is having addresses for the parcels. So that's kind of my legwork for me to do while I get in my construction team, the CVC construction team to finish the infrastructure. We're trying to beat the health center because the health center is pretty close. They like 2 permits. We like finish up this road, and then we cannot do the electric and telecom until the road is in. So Health and Hawaiian won't mess with us until the actual paving is done. So we gotta wait for that. But we can design them. I work with Albert for that. But it's a huge project. You know, when I took on this thing about 13 years ago, you know, naive as I was, didn't realize that the impact of infrastructure and the cost of infrastructure, especially on large parcels like this. So most homesteads, they go on lease of a parcel where it's already surrounded by roads and infrastructure this time. This is raw land that we actually developed. 1.5 to 2 miles from the home. 7,000 feet of water line.
The model you use, your power.
This is 191. I ripped apart the Nanakuli Village Center's CPR. I think it's easier to do it with the department on the subdivision portion. Yeah, you got to do portion. CPR, you got it. And yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. They get too much entities involved. You know, you don't need any more people telling us what to do. Not that we rebelling, but I appreciate you guys assigning Lily to us, and thank you, Andrew. That EOC EOD grant was a blessing in disguise. You know, pulling down that type of money, $6.8 million, matched by the Department of 1.5 and 8.3. That'll take us over the edge. I had a conference call with telecommunication people now, military contractor. So we're getting Uncle Ed Texera involved. So linking her when we designed the EOC, we designed the EOC with the county, state, FEMA, feds, Wakala, all in mind. The big, as I was learning, I'm not too into telecommunication, but the EOC type telecommunication, so much firewalls they gotta put up. So that when the military can tie into us, we gotta make sure that nobody can hack us and infiltrate them. So that's the cost. That's why the big cost of this turning into a North Hawaii EOC. You know, it's probably going to supersede the counties Hilo and Honoka'a because it's a military type grade. But you know, it's a matter of collaborating with them. Put the book out, let them bite, and read on it.
Like maybe you can explain what the EOC is.
So the EOC, Emergency Operations Center. So typically, Emergency Operations Center, I worked a few years in, you guys know, 27 years in the police department. So predominantly the Hilo EOC is at the police department in Hilo, and it's really one hub, telecommunication hub that contact everybody, federal, state, county, everybody involved. You know. But in Hilo one, there's no place, there's no fallout shelter or place that you can house people or feed people or that kind of thing. And we kind of do a multitask of a communication system. We're going to spend about $3.5 million on a communication system, just a communication system alone. And putting up one large enough building that we can use them for training, fire prevention, everything that we need for emergencies, including certified kitchen. So Uncle Head Tech Sheriff's responsibility is to bring in the county, state, FEMA guys to help harden the facility to the point where we get certified kitchens and bathrooms and storage, food storages, so that we would be, there's nothing here. So you guys don't know, when I had the big fire, the military, you know, they really help us, but you couldn't see nothing. The smoke over here was just ridiculous. You couldn't see anything. It was the largest fire in Hawaii history. So the military stayed on that side, and they knew that our houses was burning on this side, and so they couldn't come over because they never crashed into the county. They had no communications whatsoever. They couldn't communicate with the state. They couldn't communicate with the county. The county couldn't communicate with the state. It was a mess. And so that was the catalyst behind us getting the EOC funding. So we've been working with the UXO, obviously, with the military for years. General Flynn, became pretty good friends with General Flynn. Never went to his dollars. I would stick out before town. But through him, and the Lieutenant Colonel of Pakalana, Kevin Crony, they invited us to the grant, got the Pentagon to accept the invitation, and then they invited us to write the grant. We had to go to a state agency, so thank you, Kali, for giving us, Lily and Andrew, to get that grant processed. And boy, that's just a lengthy process, isn't it? It's just that we're so close already. Everybody fighting at the bit for finish this road and get it paved and get it going, so that we can start moving in the arena that when I first created this thing on the 4th occasion, I was the 4th president that created one conceptual plan. I thought I was going to jump in here and start, you know, doing buildings and stuff, and not realizing I would spend 12 years on infrastructure. Yeah, so it's a 12-year thing that I have to do this.
Sorry, I want to ask about the telecom. So if this is going to be an EOC, you talked about one fiber path, and we're building fiber paths to Brooklyn. But we learned from Lahaina, one fiber path is maybe not enough.
Well, that's where you guys come in. That's why we jumping in with you guys.
So more infrastructure.
We don't have that expertise.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys have it, that you guys can
or microwave or something.
put the right system in. Yeah.
On that note, all you commissioners and staff that drove went up to Pu'ukapu in this building, the whole area has been without internet service, which Jeremy will tell you about. That whole area since April 16th.
Even right here,
No
up to the front,
internet
up into my house in the corner, is all on the SIC. Nobody gets it. So one of the reasons why when we're dealing with coverage, we pushing here. So even though Sandwich I'll get one hub here, we come here, we can tie into Hawaiian. Because when we do the health center, we need reliable service. So we said we're pushing through here and use Hawaiian system and stay away from SIC. We don't want that to hinder the process, especially when we start doing more comprehensive health too. Our clinic does a lot of telehealth, so we make sure that it's the best system possible, especially on the healthcare. And then the EOC. So we're coming from this angle, this way. So all this is all SIC and all the way to the back. So if we come in from this road, we can come in with Hawaiian. There's a lot of strategies we had to design this thing to make it happen. But yeah, it's fun. You guys gotta go. I know you gotta go. Yeah. I seen the pictures. Ouch.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a spin through Waimea Phase 2. So we're just gonna drive through that area. When you come back onto Kawaihae Road, be very careful. Traffic left and right before you turn left. Okay,
Thank you.
Like I said, it would go to where my husband is and go back. That's how it would go back. I don't know if you folks saw the pictures. These two cars were up here. Lucky for the mango tree and the coconut tree, that's what stopped those two cars from going into the river. And they were both, the truck. My nephew called, so that you can sell me the white truck. I said, $1,000 down with a bed of Pu'ukapu for the eagle. Because that's how high the water was. That bed of that truck filled up with mud and Pu'ukapu. This car, you couldn't even see the tires. Or maybe you could see a little bit of the tires. But anyways, this is clean compared to what it was.
Where's the property line? Where's your property?
Over here. Over here. This is the property. Oh, right here. Oh, right here. So we just, yeah. So we just took out about 3 coconut trees over here, all the way back up. So this is, so what happened was, they went dig up over here. This went out more. No, so the last, I think that's where I was gonna go. The last big storm we had, they came to clean it out. But I can tell you, for years, it hadn't been clean. But this time, it was clean. And after this, so they tried to rinse it out.
Yeah, it looks like they
Yeah.
put some debris on it.
No, but see what happened, the trees are falling there. The trees are falling, and all this Pu'ukapu went go up and went down. So now,
Does that make sense? Looks like get another heavy rain.
go the street. So this is what that's what we were saying. But the last time the storm was coming, a year or so ago, the goodness of God, this side of because it was no longer who's Kalaniana'ole. It was life. And that's what we're thankful for. Just like holidays, county payment, state payment, and there was different. Not DHHL. I slept through. I went to see my mother and I said, it's never deep. And I'm kind of glad that I slept because that would have been, yes. Meanwhile, cousin didn't know what we heard was they were able to get and all was we never heard rain. Kind of rain that we had Saturday, never. My husband's uncle, he's one of the 2 elders in Kawaihae, never heard. And they live here. The house company. So our thing is, how can we feel more right? Those kind of, when I go to a walk, I see all of that. Those canals, but it's like cement. You know this? Yeah, the wall. Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm asking. When I go to Proceed, I see all that. I see big canals.
But do you think this is happening because trees fall? Coconut trees.
No, all the Kiawe out there. Yeah.
Had where? Here?
Was right here. I get the picture. Yeah, so right here, look. Right here. It went. See right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, one of the things I've suggested to LMD and LTD is going Malcolm and finding out where all this stuff is and putting in settling basins or catchment.
I mean, it's needed because stuff coming out. It's gonna be blown out. There's gonna be more than the where the environment is headed. All these masses all over the world.
Were you down here once upon a time? Well, I know that we moved people. Yeah.
No, we dug all of this out of the street. No, it came, a lot of this came down with the storm. Yeah.
And here we are. And all of you are here. No, it's not. And anytime up Mauka, because it can be just like this, or it could even be a nice clear day in Kawaihae. And once we hit a Pu'ukapu coming down, we know that up Mauka is pouring. So what does up Mauka look like? We don't know. We don't know. Okay. But anyway, we can help. We are more than willing.
Can drone.
Michael did on Tuesday.
All the way up?
Mm-hmm. Well, pretty far. I
You
think
got
like
the- you
4
got
or
the
5
film?
miles. Yeah, I sent it to Jim, Brian.
Send me one. I'll show me check.
Okay, I will forward them to you when I get back to my computer.
Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
So you want to come?
Yeah.
Yes. Hook up to your.
Oh yeah.
And so a couple years ago, they did all of this, and they put new rocks up. They dug up the river.
This is
Fee
commercial
simple.
lease, industrial lease?
No, that's a fee simple lot.
Oh,
It's
fee
actually
simple.
4 lots.
Oh, it's not even our land.
No, it was owned by Parker Ranch.
So this is that lot. So
Oh,
the
that's
stream
where the
came
stream is
through. Yeah.
coming.
So if you build it out, then it diverts the water this way. But I mean, if this is showing up on the old maps. That's why I was saying. I don't know if there's plans and permits that were issued for this. Prior to the subdivision.
What about the bottom? Is there a culvert?
There is a culvert.
It's not adequate at this point.
No,
It's
no,
not.
They built one there.
They tried.
Somebody did. Yeah, it should have been over there. Over there, covered over there. You just filled it.
They've been filling. They did so much stuff to fill it and make their property. What they wanted was to. This little chunk of property right here belongs to them.
Oh, it
They
does.
wanted to bridge this to use this property after stealing property from Hawaiian homes.
No, so they helped themselves to
why
everything behind the signs, and so
So they had no
when I found
respect
out,
for
then I
anything.
went in and I told them, move your stuff up, and then I put these signs up.
Oh, that is one.
That is, yeah, everything to the right of the signs.
This is a deal of land exchange with Richard Smart. When Richard Smart had a restaurant here before, he built the Harbor House way back in the 60s. And Harbor House eventually burned down. So after that, Yabana bought the lot to put his trucks on for the sugarcane trucks. So that's what was, he stored his trucks here, and he built this house for his drivers. Then after the sugarcane went away, he opened up for fee simple leases. So these guys are leasing this. They're not owners. They're not nothing. They're subleasing. Subleasing, subleasing, subleasing. There's like 4. It's way down the line. But I want some resolution from this. I want to know that you guys are going to do something so that I'm 66 years old. I can't do this again. I've been doing this for how many years now? Jim knows. I yell at Jim every time this happens.
How many times has this happened?
Oh, 5 or 6 times.
6 times.
Yeah. And we've lost so much. And we malama our place, we take care, we do what we're supposed to. I don't know why it's being neglected.
I didn't realize it happened 6 times.
Well, there's more times, but it's just not enough to matter. I mean, mud on the ground, we had to shovel, but nothing damaged. The damaged parts is only the ones I called Jim, and he knows.
Are these boulders and stuff, is that brought in
By them,
the mine?
yes.
And they put that over.
They built this whole thing up. They rebuilt it.
This stream and then one adjacent is there. This next door.
Yeah, so
next
this
door.
is next door.
And then
This
one is
was
this
this lot. So, I mean, if it's showing up on an old map as a stream coming through this property, then, you know, I'd like to see when they went in for the subdivision, if there was a grading plan and grading permit that allowed them to build this lot up. Because, like I said, if
Which
these,
is the ocean side over here. That's the ocean. Okay, so it came in from this.
yeah, so if this was level with this lot,
It would be there, the river.
Yeah.
Because when Harbor House used to have, their parking lot would be like a swimming pool. I mean, the cars would be floating. It was always in that lot. It was never in our home. We had a garden all in here. We had stuff growing.
Oh, sounds like a lot.
well, definitely you want to figure out how they were able to do this. And
Well, I do have,
divert.
you know that the engineer signed off on it. You gave me the papers.
The
So,
engineer
for county and state, yeah, they signed off on this redoing, placing the rocks.
Did the state sign off on this?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's an investigation.
Yeah, we need to take a look at that. Okay, well, we're gonna, we are retaining consultants to look at both sides and then come up with recommendations. Then once we get those recommendations, and keep you informed, and also probably gather more information. And then, we need to sit down and talk, see how we can resolve this situation. But you telling me that it's happened, and this is like the 6th or 7th time, tells me that we need to look at a permanent solution. Otherwise, see, my concern is the safety of the people,
Mine's
more
too.
so than the property, because the next time, he might
Not make it. We
not
almost
make it.
didn't make it this time.
So we don't want that kind of situation. So we need to look at a permanent solution. I don't know what that is right now. Let us take a look at that. We need to look for a permanent solution. 6, 7 times is too many times. And
One time is too many times.
but the reality is, if the permanent solution is going to cost $20 million,
I'm not worth $20 million.
well, that's I'm being
I know.
realistic with you. But I don't know. I don't want to talk about it now, but I foresee that it's going to be a very, very expensive. If there is a solution, maybe it's not. I mean, with global warming and everything, this is going to happen again.
I know.
And maybe more soon.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Okay. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. See you around.
Thank
Chris,
you.
nice to meet you.
Mr. Carter.